Hey guys, these are the stock picks for next week. That would be the week of October 5th, 2015. As always, five stock picks, and I'm going to go through them with you. A small disclaimer, I am in Baba, I'm long on Baba, so I do have money on this first one, but I want to point it out to you anyway because I actually just opened this position on Friday and I believe there's still time to get in. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to be using Yahoo's interactive stock chart to look at what happened in the past week, and we're going to be using sharp charts to look at certain indicators. And what I want to look at are the 20 and 30 day simple moving averages, the Arun lines, the MACD line, and the slow stochastics. Each of these are useful in finding buying signals and selling signals. So for Baba, the main reason I wanted to get in on this is I believe that Baba is oversold at the moment. If you ever look at the slow stochastics and you find the line dropping below 20, it's often an indication that the stock is oversold. It's below what the market would evaluate it as. So at this time, you could expect a bounce back. But you don't want to get in on this trade until you start seeing the black line cross above the red line and start to move out of that below 20 territory. And that's what we saw last week. And well, on Friday, Baba went up what, $4? So it looks like that oversold portion of Baba is gonna rally for a bit. I don't think it's too late to get in on it now. We're seeing a nice bearish, a bullish engulfing candlestick. So probably for the short term, Baba's gonna go up for a bit. It might kind of overshoot its real value and then step back down. So I would say close when we hit around 64. If we pass that moving average, that's actually a buying signal. But I don't think we're going to be seeing a shift in Baba to where it's going to be a intermediate term bullish trend. It's probably going to continue its bearish trend, but right now we're just going to see a quick bounce back for the upcoming week. So pay attention for when this hits 64.5 or so, and then sell. And if you're using options, it makes it a lot easier. All right, that's Baba. Then we got BC EI. Okay, energy company, probably not the best investment at the moment, but um, we see this as part of the rally. Here's what's going on. Here's what seems to be going on this week. We've been in a mini bear market for the past week or two, and suddenly on Friday, there's a rally. The market turns bullish. Now, this is typical of this time of year. So, a lot of this is seasonal, a lot of this is cyclical, and you'll find that you'll hit a bottom and then you'll bounce up at certain times. And this is one of those times. So, we might be seeing the bottom of a general market that's about to rally. And if some things rally, you're going to want to know where to put your money. You can randomly put your money wherever or just put it in an index fund, but some of these stocks are probably going to rally further than others. So that's what you really want to look for. You want to look for stocks that are probably undervalued. They've hit all-time lows just because investors are pulling their money out, not because the people were, shorting the stock or whatever. So here's an example of that. A stock that half a year ago was about $30, and you see that it can move from $4 to $5 in a single day. So that's a huge improvement. That's moving 25% in one day. So I believe these kind of stocks where that you've seen a long but slow fall and then a sudden rise as if all the investors are deciding to come back into the stock, these are good stocks to play at this time, or at least to speculate on with options. Now, it's the same situation we're seeing with Baba. This is probably oversold, and this black line is going to hit the 20 line pretty soon. And at that point, we got a buying signal. So I wouldn't say right now we have a buying signal. We do have a candlestick that shows us something that looks like a really strong bullish engulfing. So that is also a buying signal if you're a candlestick charter. But what's most interesting, and what you probably want to pay attention to if you're going to end up position trading this, is this MACD line. We can see the black line crossing over the red line, but it's not into positive territory yet. If it does get into positive territory, then we might have a position trade on our hands, and we could ride this up to wherever the next resistance is, or even all the way back up to where it was before this mini bear market. All right, we're going to move on to CM. Okay, so here's what we got. We got something that looks similar to all the other trades I just showed you, the other two trades. Nothing really interesting going on in the other indicators, but we do have these stochastic lines showing us that we are oversold at the moment. And that's the theme of this week's stock picks. What we really did have is possibly a market correction, bringing most stocks prices down to below what they usually, or what they probably should be. And now is a good time to buy if you believe that a rally is coming. The rally might be a mini rally, or it might just take us to new highs or a new bull market. But right now it's good for speculation, and you're going to want to find these stocks that have already been oversold before, before like a month ago, and the prices have dipped much further than they probably should. So if this is technically oversold, at the end of September, these prices have been dipping since then, and it's even more oversold. And we've got a lot of room for profit here. If we're going to move from 15 to 18, that's a decent profit on a swing trade. So this is another one, and if you care about the company, you can always go to Morningstar.com and look up the fundamentals. But this is a mobile service provider. All right, and then Cliffs Natural Resources. I really don't know what they do. I see this ticker all the time. I've never bothered to look into them. I've never traded them personally, but in terms of everything we've seen in the past three stock picks, we're seeing basically the same thing here. It's just an oversold stock, and it's been waiting to bounce back for a while, and this rally might help it actually bounce back. Now it's a penny stock, so be careful, don't put too much money into it, but it could be nice to see a 10% movement in a day, and that's very possible with these penny stocks. So as you can see, this black stochastic line is turning upward. You can buy now to speculate, or you can wait until that black line has crossed the 20 mark and then buy in with a better probability of being correct. All right, I'm going to move on to the last one, UNT. All right, so UNT, same kind of story. We have something that fell from a very high price to a very low price. It's probably vastly oversold. Well, that's not the case here, I guess. But we were basically at the oversold level, but now we're seeing that there's a possible bullish rally. And if that's the case, we're no longer oversold, which is good because the momentum is starting to shift upward. We've got the black line above the red line, and we're moving into positive territory. This is more speculative, and as I'm looking at this, I'm suddenly remembering this is probably also related to a gap in the stock. So let's look at the stock chart. I believe there would be a gap because for me, this is a little too flimsy to make a long position call on. So I must have seen a gap in order to justify putting this in this week's list of stock picks. So is there a gap? We are seeing, I believe, a gap. Let's check this out. I just saw it. Yeah, we've got a really small gap right here. So that's going to draw the stock upward. Think of it as a vacuum. That's not how it works at all, but just think of any gaps you see that are within the window that don't go crazy out and up. Like this gap we're seeing right here, it's not very obvious. So this is probably an area gap, and you can check with the volume as well. If the volume's low, we're probably looking at an area gap, and you can just mentally internalize that as a vacuum. It's going to draw the price up there. within usually for a down gap within 7 days. That didn't happen here. But by day 30 or by day 20 in the stock market, at the end of the month, you're going to see 97% of these gaps close. So this is a decent bet because you've got a 97% chance of seeing a buy of 12.53 get up to the bottom here, which would be 14.01. So we're saying you got a 97% chance of getting a profit of, what did I just say? 14.01, right? So your ROI there would be about 12%. And with gap strategies, with gap statistics, it's almost guaranteed. You can never guarantee anything, but area gaps almost always close, and we've already made it out pretty close to 30 days. So, I mean, it's the law of diminishing returns in terms of probability here. So maybe we're getting in too late, but statistically, this should close. We wouldn't have been getting in too late. The idea would be you usually get in after the gap because the gap typically closes within 7 days. So you wait a day or two and you look for a candlestick signal to tell you that the gap is closing. And then that's when you know you're ready to get out. My gap game plan system describes that exact process I go through to make trades like this one. But all the other trades were based on these indicators. Usually it's oversold, and I think we're at a moment where buying oversold stock is probably at least a good swing trade, if not a good position trade or long-term investment. If you have any questions, as always, leave them in the comments section below or send me an email.